So here I am once again talking about movies. But before we get into that, let's talk about, as I said in the description of this video and the live stream and all that stuff, got some changes that are going to be coming here to the show. So in the past several months, things have already kind of changed here. I've started to do the show solo as, Serenity, my co-host. She had to step down. It was awesome that she was to have her on the show. And great she was. Serenity's awesome. She had to step down because, she had her other projects in her work where, they were important to her. And I completely understand it. As I've said before many times on the show, since she stepped down, it's like, I already knew she had a pretty busy life when I asked her to be the co-host of this show, and I was surprised when she said yes. So I wasn't really surprised when she told me that she had to step down and all that stuff. But I've been doing the show solo since then, and to my surprise, I didn't think alone I could fill the hour. I always thought I needed somebody to bounce off of, but I've been doing pretty good. Regardless of that, we have had guests on the show. A good buddy, Chris Mohan, who was on the other podcast, the sister podcast, you could say, to this one, Televincent, where we were talking about the CW Network's Crisis on Infinite Earths. We did a live stream for that just last night at the time of this stream here. And I will be uploading that to the P.O. Vincent YouTube channel shortly, within the next day or two. So keep an eye out for that if you're more familiar with my YouTube content. But I have been thinking a lot about the show. Been doing this show now for this incarnation of P.O. Vincent, I should say. Starting as turning into a podcast. I've been doing this for over a year now, and I want the show to grow and continue and get better. So I've been asking myself, what changes do I need to bring to the show to try to make it better, to try to improve it, to try to make things, a little easier for me, because, I go to see all the movies. I try to keep up on everything that's going on in film, everything from trailers to casting. I just saw an article just before I started the live stream here, that said Taika Waititi's being tapped to possibly direct a Star Wars film. I didn't get a chance to read the article, so it could just be a rumor. Just want to state that, but holy crap, that's it's got the gears in my head going. But yeah, so I'm trying to think what to do, because I'm managing so far pretty fine by myself without a co-host, but still, I want what can I do to make things better? So I've had a few ideas. First off, what is the most fun part about doing this are the movie reviews or the TV reviews, that I started on television. Like I said, me and Krish were doing Crisis on Infinite Earths last night. Ton of fun, especially since we're both very nerdy guys and we just love talking about that stuff. But my favorite part of doing the podcast, as much as I do enjoy discussing the news segments or, what discussions are going on, I do enjoy the movies part the most. But I don't want to give up the news stuff. So how can I make things better on both ends? So what I'm going to do with the show moving forward is that Thursday nights when I have the live stream anyway, instead of doing an hour of news segments and then ending it off with the movie review, or vice versa, as I was doing it for a few weeks, from now on, the Thursday night live stream will just be the movie review. That means the show will probably be more around a half an hour than the usual hour that the show is. I will still start the review off with non-spoilers, and then I will go into spoilers section if I deem it's necessary for the film. As some films, it's like, what is there to really spoil? Is there anything mentioning? But regardless, that's how I'm going to be doing the show moving forward. So yes, Thursday nights live streams on our Facebook channel will still be happening. And as for the movie news and discussion segments, well, I was thinking about a lot of this stuff, and because I usually just do the show once a week, by the time I get some of this content out, whether via the Facebook live stream or, as I tend to do, I break down the show and upload the segments to the P.O. Vincent YouTube channel. Some of these news stories are several days old, and, with the way media is in our culture, a few days is long enough for it to become old news, and people have moved on to the next thing. So what I've decided to do is that when something is released, whether it be a movie trailer, casting announcement, some kind of drama going on between actors, directors, the studio, whatever, I will now do those segments from my little home studio. It's not as nice as the River's Edge studio here, but it'll do just fine. So I'm going to do it from home. That way, once the news breaks, I can film myself, discuss it, edit it, and get it up onto the P.O. Vincent YouTube channel. That way, it's as fresh as it can possibly be, and it's not several days old, and by that time, you've probably listened or watched somebody talk about it, and you've pretty much got all the information that you want. And then by that time, I want to be up to date with things as possible. So that's how things will be moving forward. So Thursday night live streams on the Facebook channel, still happening. But they will only be the movie review. All the news, discussion stuff, that kind of things, I will be trying to releasing that on the YouTube channel the day of the information is released, or released the next day, depending on my work schedule. Because I have a bit of a wonky work schedule. But beyond that, as much as I can obviously handle things, I've been handling the show fine since it's just been doing it solo. But I do enjoy having guests on. We've had so many of my friends or colleagues on. We've had like I said, Krish. We've had Liz on before. We've had Sarah on before. We've had John from the Cinema Psychos podcast. That crew, and I've been on their podcast. Jamie and Mike from Neo Trash Video, they've been on the show a couple times, so I'm definitely going to try to kick up having guests on far more often. My goal is to try to have, do an episode every week. That's 4 episodes a month. My goal is to try to get guests on at least twice a month, minimum. I'm not totally eliminating like the solo stuff, because it can be hard to get people to come out on a Thursday night, because that's when I do. I go to see the early little tiny early premieres of these films on a Thursday night. It's a weekday. It can be hard to get people to come out, so I'm not going to try to have it every week, because I think that'd be a little bit more difficult task than it may seem at first. And that's coming from a guy who's done stand-up comedy for years, and it's hard to get. If you've got a show or something like a special showcase that's not on the weekend, it's not on a weekday night, trust me, it can be hard to get people to come out sometimes. So that's why I'm not going to do it every week, but only like every other week. So that is what I'm going to be going for in the future in regards to how the show is going to be run. Still doing movie reviews on Thursday night live stream on the Facebook page, but it'll just be movie reviews. Anything news breaking, trailers, casting announcements, drama, some whatever news is going on, I will now be doing those segments from my home, and I'll be putting them up on the YouTube channel as soon as possible. And I'm going to try to increase the flow of guests coming into the show. So that's how that's going to be moving forward, and I hope you're going to be continue to join me on all that stuff. Oh, and one last thing. I have been updating the P.O. Vincent Patreon page. I just appreciate anybody who watches the show. Every view helps. Every view helps me to keep doing the show. But things are costly. We got the studio here. I've got it. Going out to see the movies every week. I'm driving around. All the stuff does take time to do the show, edit videos, all that kind of stuff. So if you could support the show by going to the Patreon and becoming a patron of the show, I'd really appreciate it. I'm currently asking for a $5 a month subscription. That would really help out with a lot of things. And I am working on things on the Patreon to make it worth your while. And if I gain enough patrons, I will do more Patreon centered content, maybe exclusive videos or pictures, stuff like that. That would be on the Patreon alone, or at least on the Patreon first. It will not be released for weeks. But we'll see how that goes. So please, if you enjoyed the show, head over to patreon.com/POVincent and help support me there. Hey everybody, hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to see a full episode, I live stream every Thursday night on Facebook right after I see the movie. Or you can tune in to the River's Edge Online Radio Network every Friday morning at 9 a.m. If you enjoyed the show, please consider contributing to the Patreon. Patreon.com/POVincent.